So, okay. Welcome to Travel Oddities, episode 24.
Correct.
The Lost Dutchman's Treasure of Apache, what is it, Apache, Arizona?
Apache Junction.
Apache, is that real?
Yes, it's a real place.
It sounds like something that the Brady Bunch went to.
It's possible.
Did you ever see the episode? Wait, okay. I didn't. Okay. It's the 18th
of
April, 2016.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay.
So the episode of the Brady Bunch when they go to the Grand Canyon?
Yes.
No, you don't. Do you remember Peter Brady smuggling the hot dogs to the little Indian boy that he met in the empty flashlight?
I do not remember that.
Yes. Fond memories of him.
I'm sorry.
Hoarding hot dogs.
Which Brady boy was smuggling hot dogs?
It was Peter. I'm almost certain it was Peter. But anyway, interesting story. I get gold fever when we talk about these, and we'll get into that. But have you watched Daredevil?
Yes.
Both seasons?
Yes. I finished it last night.
Season 2 was, I'm telling you right now.
Do you want me to
John Bernthal as the Punisher?
Yes.
Brutal.
Dude, I wanted, with every fiber of my body, to hate him.
But you couldn't.
From the word go.
Why?
Because he was Shane.
Yeah.
From Walking Dead.
Yeah,
so,
you still kind of had. There was a scab that hadn't been debrided yet.
So I'm trying my damnedest, but by the time we get to the prison scene,
oh, dude, he went hard on those guys, man.
So anyway, we finished it last night, Amber and I, and neither of us knew this, that we had come to the season finale of season 2. And Amber says, how mad are you going to be if I watch 2 or 3 of these episodes tomorrow while you're not here?
Unbeknownst to her that was it. The end.
Exactly. And I was like, she was saying that as the credits are rolling, and I noticed in the Netflix queue
that it didn't say, because it normally will pop up and go, have the next episode in 10, 9, 8, and start counting down. Is that how it does?
Right.
And then it'll play it automatically?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Is it didn't do it. I'm like, it's over?
Yeah, it was a preview for Luke Cage.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a 7-second preview, too. It was weird.
Right.
But anyway, so I saw that happening, and she's looking at me, and I just kind of laughed and went, go for it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to watch. But now, season 3...
Oh, yeah.
Is there
any reason why they shouldn't do a Punisher standalone series? Other than the fact that they're trying to put their little mini Avengers together with Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, the Punisher, and Daredevil. It's like I can't remember I'm sorry. I'm not that big of a comic book nerd. I don't remember what it's called.
You can't even say comic book nerd.
I said comic book nerd. It's kind of like the badass Super Friends, more or less. So, yeah, it blew me away the second season. That prison sequence, there were two scenes in season 2 where I was like, holy shit. Was Daredevil's when he had a similar situation where he was fighting like dude after dude after dude after dude, and then the prison scene. Now there's a movie called Old Boy. Have you heard of it? It's a Korean movie.
No.
But it was remade with Josh Brolin, which it was a Spike Lee movie. But anyway, there's a pretty iconic scene in Old Boy where it's basically this guy in a hammer and like droves of dudes, and it's just when the hammer breaks, he grabs a board. When the board breaks, he grabs a freaking crowbar. I mean, it just goes ham on these dudes.
All right.
So yeah, it's definitely worth
I'm
taking a look at.
Yeah, I was super stoked by the end of it because the first season I liked, but I got a little
it kind of flatlined a little bit in the middle.
towards the end, it kind of went squiffy on me. I wasn't real big fan. So I wasn't sure about season 2, and I literally just started watching it last week, and we powered through it over the past few days. But now, no date for the release of season 3.
No date yet.
That they've even locked it in.
Right. The one thing I will say that they do to John Bernthal that's obvious, as somebody that's seen him in person, he's my height. They intentionally film him
from a lower point of
view, and it's nothing against. It's not an indictment against him, but let's be realistic here. They do the same thing with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is 5'5",
right?
In heels, so they intentionally kind of shoot Bernthal a little bit differently because the scene where I was in, we're just about to. I'm going to wrap this up, but the scene where him and Kingpin met each other. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Kingpin or D'Onofrio, he's 6'5",
right?
So when they had him line up, not eye to eye, they did leave it to where there was a little bit of a height differential, but it's in real life it'd be a lot bigger differential. But anyway, Daredevil, highly recommend it. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's great. So on with the show.
Hi, welcome back to World of the Psychic.
Together we shall cast ourselves into the future.
Seen any aliens lately?
This is a part of America we never get to see.
Are you by chance referring to the legend of the Loch Ness Monster?
A ball of twine that weighs 19,000 pounds.
What is this, nerd porn?
It is about the Templar treasure, but it's also about other things, conspiracy theories, urban legends, and other myths that are true.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the
travel
oddities
podcast. You know, I kind of whiffed right. Speaking of whiffed, I didn't even ask how you did this weekend. How was your weekend? We saw each other for a little bit. We had a little bit of a pre-production meeting. I think it was more of a intervention, maybe a pep rally over some burgers and some iced teas this weekend. But anyway, I hope you had a good weekend. I did it. I was okay. Thanks for asking. No, but the reason why we're here is because, once again, we've got gold fever.
We do.
It's been a few episodes ago, but we did Forrest Finn, who is a treasure hunter / tease, if you will, that's still alive. Now we move on to somewhere that's farther down the Sierra Nevadas, not Sierra Nevadas, but into Apache Junction, Arizona.
Right.
And the treasure of the lost Dutchman. Well, yeah, the treasure of the lost Dutchman, basically. Now, I'm kind of the multimedia guy. Mm-hmm. So, in preparation for the show, I'm not going to lie. I'm up front. I listened to a few podcasts. You told me, hey, try these podcasts out. Just kind of see generally what the story's about. So I'm coming into this with a kind of a mixed emotions about this particular story because I love the West. I love treasure. Hell, I love Indians. I used to be one. Anyway, so this story is very compelling because on one hand, you think, okay, well, it's just a legend. Why would somebody die and never have cashed in on their own? I mean, hell, the treasure's named after you practically. And the guy never cashed in on it. But on the other hand, there's people that swear up and down that it's there. I mean, this has been an ongoing thing since the mid-1800s.
Or even earlier, if you
the 1500s,
in the conquistadors,
yeah, the Spanish, the pre-Hispanics, right?
Is that what we're going with?
Right?
Is that a thing? Is that legitimately a thing?
Yeah, it is.
We didn't just make that up.
Well, like they're the prehistoric Hispanics.
But did you make up the phrase pre-Hispanics?
Yeah, I did. I made that up.
Awesome.
I made up the pre-Hispanics. These were hardworking horsemen that came to The history books will tell you they came to rape and pillage. So they came knowing that there was gold here.
Can we go back to the pre-Hispanics?
To the pre-Hispanics.
What was before the pre-Hispanics? Would that have been like the Jurassispanics or
yes? Well, the Mayans.
Mesohispanics?
Or the Incas. Those were like your Paleo Hispanics.
I'm a fan of Paleo.
Paleo? Yeah, you are. And the reason why they disappeared is because of the Spanish Conquistadors.
Now,
anywhere conquistadors went, people died. People were robbed. People disappeared.
Well, they're D-bags.
They're D-bags.
Highest order.
We talk about Columbus, but, well, no. Columbus predates the prehistoric Hispanics, right?
I don't think so.
Did I say pre-Hispanics or prehistoric?
You said pre-Hispanics.
Pre-Hispanics. And there is some focus group right now that is just...
Oh, we're marked for death.
We're lining the coffers of whoever regulates internet media.
I actually do have questions.
Sure.
That maybe Brett Manzer can enlighten me on, but we'll save it for the actual...
The meat
of the show.
Meat. Okay.
Because obviously we have not discussed the news.
We haven't. God darn. We didn't have to get into I said god darn. Well, here we are. We haven't done the Let's do the news.
Okay.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
News.
All right. So our news story today actually comes from an odd source.
Is it a legitimate source or is it some blogger?
So
I'm serious, man. We get these stories that come through here sometimes. It's like somebody at blogspot.org and whatever. Some
okay,
crap.
So it's not the Inquisitor this time.
Not the Inquisitor. Okay, yeah. The Inquisitor.
Is NationalGeographic.com.
Okay.
So the $100 million Breakthrough Starshot Initiative aims to use lasers to launch chip-sized probes at more than 25% the speed of light for a 20-year journey to Alpha Centauri.
Okay. So in a quest, I know we're kind of jumping ahead here, but are we looking for inhabitable planets? Are we looking for diggable planets? Are we looking for life? Or are we just wanting to waste $100 million on not sending anybody in an actual craft?
So these are cell phone sized probes. Now, I went through this in depth.
Is this a 1980s cell phone? I mean, what? iPhone 6 Plus, Galaxy S6, the Motorola, what is their View? The LG? The LG...
It's a Razr,
Quantum?
okay?
The Razr, the Motorola flip phone Razr? Okay,
yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this initiative is actually backed by Stephen Hawking, which is cool.
And I think I know where you're going with this.
All right.
Doesn't he have who is the guy he's teaming up with?
Yuri Milner.
That's it, Yuri Milner. Is that where we're going with this story?
So that's where the story originates.
Okay.
Yuri Milner has dumped a boatload of cash into this. And, if you're unfamiliar with Yuri, he is a Russian-born entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
He is in the top 50 richest people in the world list.
So he's got stupid money.
He's got stupid money. He's invested in Facebook, and if it's new and cool, Yuri Milner has a chunk of it.
But here's my issue with Stephen Hawking. As time has gone on, his theories have become somewhat fanciful, if you will.
Okay.
Very fantasy-like. I mean, again, if I'm not saying there's not alien life, but he's convinced that that alien life will contact us.
Actually, a lot of the stuff that he's written of late is a little bit on the paranoid side.
It is a little.
He says if there's alien life out there, we don't want them to know about us.
Right.
Because if they can make it here, it's not going to be a good day for us.
Kim Kardashian has 38 million Twitter followers.
Okay.
E.T. ain't got nothing on that. So bring it. We got Kardashians. What do you have?
All right. So the concept is they basically put a solar sail on a space probe. Now, none of this technology exists yet, so this is the problem.
We're still practicing with the old Nokia 6150 right now.
So the probe, they want to be that small, but they want it to have the capability of a probe that we send to Mars right now. So something the size of
like a rover?
Car.
Like the size of the Mars rover.
Right.
Okay.
They want all of that capability squished into the iPhone 8 so that they can just fire this thing off to Alpha Centauri, and when it gets there, it can dial home and send us beautiful pictures. And
because essentially, isn't NASA like a scientific GoFundMe now?
Basically.
It's all basic. NASA's more or less been privatized. There's no government funding, right?
Right.
So here you got, Richie Rich and Hawking trying to throw money at it. Why not? We're not doing anything else with it.
And to a degree, I agree with that particular concept. We're flush with cash, or a lot of people are, and there's not enough research into expanding the job base of our society.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it looks like all of the research that we do right now is, and not on purpose, but it's geared to putting people out of jobs.
Yeah, it is.
We're getting better at making computers and technology do what man normally did in the past.
Okay, prime example. Subway, Norman, 12th Street.
All right.
You can touch screen your sandwich.
And
it's the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Now, if I don't get extra cheese, it's not Skippy's fault. It's my fault.
Unless he didn't read it right, and of course.
Computers are taking over.
And to a degree, they are. I mean,
and it's starting with Subway.
But back to the news story. So they want this very small space probe to be hooked up to basically a parachute, made out of mylar, so that they can hit it with a laser beam. Now, right now, they can do that in the lab. They can take a aluminum foil parachute and push it across the lab with a laser beam that's sitting on the same table. But what they're talking about doing is taking thousands of lasers and focusing them all on a spot in space a few thousand miles away, and then keeping that focus of all of these lasers on that one spot. And it won't take very long for them to do this once they've got it lined up. They won't have to do it for a day or anything. A very short period of time, they will push that to approximately 20% the speed of light.
Okay.
So this place being 4 light years away, it's going to take them 20 years to get there.
So in my mind, I'm picturing the Death Star destroying Alderaan.
Right.
With a concentration of lasers.
In this case, Alderaan is a cell phone wrapped in aluminum foil.
So it's not like, so Star Killer Base and the Death Star had a baby and now it shoots cell phones.
Right.
Cool. I mean, Again.
Now, in theory, if you can return a signal from Alpha Centauri with your cell phone, the signal is going to be moving at the speed of light. So it takes 20 years to get there, and then it'll take about 5 years for the signal to get back.
Golly, it's just not even going to happen in my lifetime.
So you're talking 25 years if we were capable of doing it right now. But it looks like the science is basically 20 years away. So 45 years from now, we might have some cell phone images from another.
And they'll be outdated, and it'll be outdated cell phone images. It'll be in 1080p, 4K, and by then it'll we'll be full-fledged 3D holograph. Everything.
And I think more importantly, they'll probably be out of their coverage area.
Probably, and
we won't get a signal,
and they'll get charged roaming for roaming too far into the Alpha Centauri. Well, that's cool. I mean, I don't know in game. I mean, thanks, guys. I don't think that Stephen Hawking will live long enough to see this thing come to fruition.
No, I don't think he will either. And that's not really the point. At the end of the day, the intention of this is not to get a cell phone pic of, topless aliens in Alpha Centauri.
Says who? It says you, maybe.
Well, I don't think that's the end game. They're not looking for, cell phone pics. They're looking to develop the technology. If you can get your 100 gigawatt laser array working on that, then you're not far behind saying, let's take a cruise to Alpha Centauri.
There was a place that had a large array of satellites. Gakona. And it disappeared. I don't know. You tell me.
So that's the news.
That's the news. So, we journey into the desert of Arizona. The rugged outback.
Apache Junction is...
Stop saying that.
Hold on. Just...
Every time you say it, this is what I hear every time.
What?
Apache Junction, what's your function? That's what I hear. Don't call it Apache Junction. Can we just call it...
That's the name of the town.
Let's just call it... Can we rename it to Apacheville?
Okay, so...
Or...
No, it is Apache Junction.
It is Apache Junction. We love you guys. But the way you say it, it's like LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, but it's also not a podunk little town.
Right.
It is part of the greater Phoenix Metroplex.
It doesn't look like I mean, your definition of Metroplex, I didn't see a mall. Where's Starbucks?
Okay, so we need to get into the story.
Yes.
So according to legend, the Lost Dutchman's gold mine is a rich gold mine hidden in the southwestern United States. The location is generally believed to be in the Superstition Mountains, and there have been a lot of people that have died looking for this mine. But every year, and you and I watched some YouTube videos,
yes.
Every year people flock to this area looking for this fortune.
But here's my issue. Okay, since the 1500s, now we talked about pre-Hispanics, not pre-Mexicans. God, I knew I was going to do it. Pre-Hispanics in their quest for gold. 1500 minus 2016. That's a long time. That's 500 years, bro. Isn't it? Is it really?
1,500 to 2,000, yes. It's 500
years and nobody's found a lick of gold yet.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. But the mine itself has not been found.
Right.
In current time that people are willing to admit. Now, that was another situation where YouTube is all over this one, and there are 1,000 people who claim
to have found it.
It's been found. Either they found it and they're sitting on it, or the government found it and
they're sitting on it.
They spent it all.
And I don't believe that for a second, because the government doesn't do that. They don't spend all of our money. They don't mismanage our funds. They're why I can't play kickball at the YMCA anymore.
All right, so on a completely off the subject 100%. Did you hear the news story out of Europe that one of the smaller countries is taking a drastic measure to take care of their national debt?
Is it Greece?
It's not Greece.
Oh no! Wait, there's a big for sale sign on the Greek Isles. It just says for lease. Go ahead.
So, and it's eluding me right now. But one of the smaller countries is going to pass a law, and it's a one-time law. Mm-hmm. They are going to take all of the residents of the country, log into their savings account, and take 10%.
I heard that somewhere, and I thought, this has got to be a bunch of bullshit.
No, it's a legit story.
That's
They're
crazy.
trying to pass the law, and their excuse was, well, we need to do it, and everybody needs to chip in, and we're only going to do it this one time. Now, when's the last time you've been to Tulsa, Oklahoma?
It's probably been a month or two back.
Okay, so you tell me, when you went to Tulsa, how much did you pay in tolls?
Oh, gosh. I think it's round trip. I want to say, I could be wrong, round trip $5.
Okay, so from Oklahoma City to Tulsa is what, 50 miles?
Yeah.
And it's $5
Well,
round
it's
trip?
more than 50 miles.
Okay, 75 miles.
Okay, yeah.
The point's
It's an hour from here. 45 minutes from here. Go ahead.
So that toll plaza was supposed to go, all the toll collection was supposed to go away within the first year or so, as soon as they paid for the road with the tolls.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
That's been a while.
20, 30 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I promise you, if they start dipping into those guys' savings accounts, it's not going to be a one-time deal.
It won't be a one-time deal. I'm sorry. Europe, listen to your brothers from the West. We get screwed. It's just one big screw job. Speaking of screw jobs, so I almost said Christoph Waltz, but Jacob Waltz is the Dutchman.
Okay, now there is a point of contention that I have with this. It's called the Lost Dutchman's Gold Mine.
He's not lost, he's dead. But anyway, go ahead.
But he's not Dutch. He's German.
He's German.
He's from Deutschland.
Deutschland. I'm just kidding.
So it would actually be the Lost Deutschman's Gold Mine, but the United States, we are populated by douchebags, and we can't differentiate between Dutch and Deutsch. So he is the Lost Dutchman.
Deutschlander. That's how Deutschlander.
Right.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? When you're asked if you speak German.
Nein.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Nein.
No. Sprechen Sie German? I mean, we're just the United States is just the whitest country in the world. You know, we try to go to other countries and get culture, and we'll eat one freaking kielbasa sausage, and all of a sudden we're the prime minister of, freaking Czechoslovakia. I'm like, come on.
There's another stupid story out of Crimea. Do you know that the new prime minister of Crimea? It's not Crimea. It's the Czech Republic or whatever, wherever Crimea is at. My brain's not functioning at all tonight. I'm sorry. Is a U.S. citizen who literally became a citizen of that country overnight to become their finance minister, and then like a week later was appointed as the prime minister of that country. Full U.S. citizen.
Now,
6 months ago.
It wasn't like a what is the word that they use when it's just temporary? It not a interim.
No.
The real deal.
Real deal. They made her a citizen so she could become the finance minister, and she is now the prime minister. Now, you gotta know the CIA is all up in that biz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You don't go from being some nobody from Wisconsin to running a foreign country overnight.
I know. What is this? It sounds like the Princess Diaries or some movie. It's like a Disney movie. I became a prime minister. Whee!
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And then a musical ensues, and like everybody dances, and even the dog's like, meow.
Okay, so we're completely off topic.
Yeah, we are topic. Yeah.
Jacob Waltz, he claims to have discovered the gold mine in the 19th century, and he kept its location a secret.
Now, it was Stacy Peralta's grandpa that gave him the treasure map.
What are you doing?
I'm just... Is that not Peralta from Pal and Peralta? Sorry.
No.
Okay.
Different Peralta.
Different Peralta. Okay.
Hispanic, not South California.
Yeah, East L.A.
Okay, so he met someone named Peralta who was looking for someone to return to his family mine with him.
Okay, why would you pick someone that's not from these parts?
Well, just because he wasn't born and raised in the South doesn't mean that he wasn't an active prospector at the time. And that's kind of the way I took it. Obviously, there's a whole lot of hearsay and she said, he said, the legend is all through here.
But here's the thing. Even back then, I don't trust you if you do have brown skin. So why Hector Peralta, I think his name's Hector, isn't it?
I think that's right.
Is it? I didn't just pick a stereotypical name here. I'm sorry.
I wish you really would have picked a pre-Hispanic name.
I'm sorry. I can't think of any. I'm not picking the whitest dude in the American West. Am I wrong? You're dark. You're dark-skinned.
Racist.
No, I'm just saying. Back then, you could hardly trust your own people. Like your own relatives would stab you in the back.
Yeah, I can see that. So, Waltz and his partner, Jacob Wisner, and all of this is under contention.
Mm-hmm.
There are some versions of this that basically claim that Waltz and Wisner are the same person and that their names were confused. But any way you look at it, this is the basic idea of the story. So they went to the mine where Peralta offered them a deal, giving them temporary deeds to the mine. So Waltz and his partner returned mining gold ore. Waltz left to get more supplies, and when he came back, his partner Wisner was dead. Waltz took what he could, covered everything else up, and returned to Phoenix.
Now, we don't know who killed Wisner.
No.
We can assume that it was probably Apache Indians.
No.
Why not? That was their stomping grounds.
I understand that, but I hear it all the time. We heard it 55 times in the stuff that we were researching, and it was always, well, it's assumed that the Apache Indians.
Because here's the thing.
There's no evidence of it.
The Apaches owned it all. This was theirs. But it didn't. Gold was just a bonus. Gold is something they could have used, or of any type, is something they could have used to barter with conquistadors, barter with rustlers, barter with the military. I mean, we've been in that part of the country. That's a huge patch of land, and they owned, theoretically, all of it.
Yeah, but it's the scapegoat of anything that happened in the West. if somebody died unexpectedly, if they got lost, if they ran into trouble, it was always the Apache Indians.
Okay, well, if let's say Wisner got shot with an arrow, was it Legolas from frickin' Lord of the Rings? I mean,
but we didn't say that Wisner got shot with an arrow.
But we don't know.
If that was the case, if it was that Jacob came across Wisner and Wisner looked like a pincushion full of arrows, then we could say maybe some Native Americans had a hand in his death. But it's also the land, yes, primarily was Apache land.
Mm-hmm.
But the Apache were nomadic in nature. They covered mile upon mile of land. They weren't there all the time, and it's a bad place to be. It sucks. It's hot. It's nasty. It's gross.
So you're going to say Wisner died from dysentery or something you can die from on the Oregon Trail?
I'm going to say that it's just as likely as some white dudes came along, found him out there by himself, and went, "We like your horse. We're going to kill you and take it."
Okay.
As it is that the Apache Indians found this one dude and decided they were going to get their mad on for one guy in their mountain.
But here's my question. If you kill Wisner and you don't pilfer, then what's the point? Do we know if they pilfered the mine?
We have no idea.
We have no idea. All we know is that Waltz returns to find Wisner dead. He takes what he can and leaves, goes to Phoenix. But the story doesn't end there.
No. There are other legs of this story, but basically at the end of it, Jacob, or not Jacob, was it? No, Waltz.
Waltz.
Yeah, Jacob Waltz.
Jacob Waltz. And that's the other thing. Jacob Waltz, Jacob Wisner. What are the chances?
Yeah. That's why a lot of people think it's mixed up.
Right.
So, Waltz went back, and he wouldn't go back out there, and apparently he, according to legend, killed 3 people at the site, which this story has none of that in it, and then killed 4 more to keep the site hidden.
To keep it hidden, right.
Didn't tell anybody where the location was, made up some BS maps, and apparently spent the next 60 years carving cool rocks to keep people searching all over the country for this treasure.
Mm-hmm.
But then those rocks weren't found until the 1950s.
Which I don't know how they survived, because weathering and things like that. You know, I understand that, you know, rocks don't change much shape unless they're in water, or you know what I mean. They have to be in extreme conditions,
right? And 100 years in the desert is probably not going to. You can still find things out in the desert now that are over 100 years old.
You can find arrowheads all day long.
I mean, you can find rocks, standing stones with things carved in them that are over 100 years old.
Right.
So the wind is not going to sandblast them clean.
Mm-hmm.
So technically they could still be there. But they call this rock collection the Peralta Tesoro Mappa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's has numerous drawings, X symbols, and arrows, and a giant heart.
Way to butcher the Spanish on it. Gee whiz. You're never going to be a treasure hunter.
Hey, I'm pre-Hispanic, so I can't do the current Hispanic language.
Were you born in East L.A.? So, but here's the thing. We go back to the Apaches.
Yeah.
They are said to have a very rich mine located in that area. How do we know that this isn't their mine in the Superstition Mountains? We don't know that.
It could very well be.
But, again, I go back to Wisner was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And that's a distinct possibility.
Because here's the thing. I don't care if this is my microphone. If you point a gun at me, or an arrow at me, or there's 100 of you and one of me, and you've all got one thing in mind, that this is going to be your microphone. I don't care if this microphone's been in my family for 100 years. The minute you tell me that's my microphone, it's yours. I'm out of here.
Right. So again, I go back to yes, the Apache could be violent, but the Apache were not inherently violent. So one guy, I'm thinking, dude, there's 100 of us. There's one of you. Pick up your water bag and get the hell out.
Geronimo had a saying, if it wears a hat, kill it.
Yeah.
So inherently violent, no. But territorial, yes.
Again, it's all possible, but it's not. I can't.
Not improbable.
It's not even improbable, but you can't say this is what happened.
Okay, but you can
without any evidence.
There's some leanings to that, though.
No, he could have been bit by a damn rattlesnake and fell over dead.
You're a Western pioneer. Why are you getting bit by a snake?
Because you're taking a dump in the middle of the desert, leaning up against a rock, and guess what's hiding in there?
When I take a dump in the middle of the public restroom, I always check the seat first.
Could have crawled into a sleeping bag. There's no telling. I'm just saying there are a million other explanations for one dude dying in the desert.
If I go to sit on a toilet seat and it has radiant heat, I call that the forbidden handshake. I won't sit there. Radiant heat or a rattlesnake, I won't sit there. But here's the thing, okay? Other side of that, you're Jacob Waltz. You show up. Jacob Weisner, your partner in crime of J&J Mining Company, is dead.
Right.
If it's anything less than foul, sorry, hit the mic again. If it's anything less than foul play, why are you packing your shit and heading back to Phoenix and refusing to go back? It ain't because of a snake. It's not because of a snake infestation. They've found skulls with gunshots in the skulls.
Oh yeah, and they found headless people in the area as well. So yes, there is some bad
juju going on out there.
Right.
So my point is, again,
but you can't blame it on the Apaches. Again, I'm going to go back to defending. I don't know why.
I'm not blaming it on the rattlesnake, though.
I don't know why I'm having to defend the Native Americans to the Native American, but I will go back to there have been a lot of people shot at by snipers.
What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is not an indictment on Native Americans. What I'm saying is,
you're saying the Apaches are assholes. That's what I heard you say it.
Geronimo.
What is your tribe?
Well, I'm part Apache and a Potawatomi.
So what do you have against?
I have zero
Geronimo?
things against nothing.
Dude, I feel like you've got a hate on for Geronimo.
No, what I'm saying is, it's entirely possible, in all seriousness, that if the story is, the legend is true, if Waltz came back and found Weisner dead, it wasn't because he didn't pack all the shit he could and take off to Phoenix because of a scorpion problem. Or because Weisner died of the shits.
No, but he could have had a dozen bullet holes in him. He doesn't say.
Okay, I know, but okay. Here's the thing. Here's the difference in the Native American and the white man of the time. Native Americans honored the earth. They wanted things to stay in the condition that they were. Preserve nature. White men steal, rape, pillage, blah, blah, blah. Same thing as the conquistadors. if it was white people, why didn't they pilfer the mine? And wouldn't Waltz have mentioned that the mine had been pilfered? I mean, that's an important clue. If he could take what he could and couldn't take it all.
Okay, so years later, a man called Dr. Thorne.
Why are you cutting me off?
I'm not. I agree with your rant. It's a possibility. They're all possibilities. I'm glad that you're no longer hating on the Apache.
I'm not hating on I love the Apache Indians.
Okay, can we talk more about the Apache Indians then? Years later, a man called Dr. Thorne treats an ailing or wounded Apache chieftain and is rewarded with a trip to a rich gold mine. He is blindfolded and taken there by a circuitous route and is allowed to take as much gold ore as he can carry before being escorted blindfolded from the site by the Apaches. And at a later point in time, Thorne is said to be either unwilling or unable to relocate the mine.
Unable would be my answer to that.
Okay, so the story's neat. There's a whole lot of stuff out there about it, but there's a distinct lack of historical records.
There are.
Leaving a big question mark as to whether the Peralta family ever had possession of any land or mines in or around the Superstition Mountains.
Mm-hmm. Now, the elephant in the room here is the fact that you have a mountain range that's referred to as the Superstition Mountains. I mean, I know that sounds like a Captain Obvious, tongue-in-cheek moment, but the reality of it is, that in itself is rife for such legends.
Exactly.
And let's be realistic here. It sparked a debate with us.
It did.
I mean, and if I lived any closer, we'd be out there trying to figure something out.
And we may do that anyway.
We might do that anyway. Because you have a friend right now that's turning into Scrooge McDuck over the Forrest Finn treasure.
He is very excited. He thinks he can lock this thing down and drive out there and pick it up.
I mean, you were giving me some of the clues or some of the
research that he's done.
And when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking back to the story. I'm like, that, because the whole, off the subject here, sorry. If you're not familiar with the Forrest Finn episode we did, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but Forrest Finn survived cancer, buried a treasure chest that weighs
42 pounds.
42 pounds full of
gold,
rare gems, gold, old Chinese artifacts, things like that, and made up a map via a poem and a couple of books that he's written. And people have been on the trail of this treasure
for going on 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a 20-year odyssey for most people. And there have been people that recently, in the last 6 months, a guy died trying to find this treasure. So I don't know if they found him yet.
I have not heard a follow-up to that story.
Anyway, so yeah, treasure stories are great. I love the idea of the thrill of the hunt, the thrill of the chase.
Okay,
but there's just not enough here.
Well, there is, but there's too much here.
Well,
and there's competing theories. This is not a Grave of the Devil's Baby where there's very little information.
Where there's just a tombstone and we don't know anything further than the parents' names kind of situation. Yes.
There is a literal deluge of information on the internet about this. And we'll get into it a little bit. It's all over the place in current media. This mine, the Lost Dutchman mine, is definitely the most famous mine in American history.
Yeah.
It's got too much coverage to not be. So there is a guy, an author, Bird Granger. He is an author and Arizona place name expert.
Oh, really? That's his claim to fame.
Yeah. He said the Lost Dutchman story has been printed or cited at least 6 times more often than 2 other fairly well-known tales, the story of Captain Kidd's lost treasure and the story of the lost Peg Leg mine in California.
Mm-hmm.
So, people, like you said, they've been looking for this mine since at least 1892.
Mm-hmm.
And according to one estimate, 8,000 people annually make some sort of effort to find the Lost Dutchman mine.
I don't know. I'm fearful of it, and it's because I don't know. I don't want to get shot at, and that happens. People get shot at. People die of dehydration. I mean, there's just pack for the trip if you're going out that way.
Absolutely,
and definitely. Wear full metal jackets.
We'll touch on the warnings. We'll touch on the warnings about this.
Yeah.
People have been found without their heads in this area.
Yeah, this is a real deal.
And that's not necessarily the very recent past, but in the past, people have been found decapitated. People have claimed to have been attacked by snipers. Some people have just completely disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
There was one story where a guy slipped on a rock, fell in between 2 rocks that were put together, snapped his hip, and they found his dead corpse 2 years later.
Ouch.
You've got people dying of dehydration, being stung by scorpions or bitten by poisonous snakes. This is a dangerous area.
Yeah, for being in Arizona, an Arizona metroplex.
Well, Apache Junction is part of the Phoenix metroplex. The Superstition Mountains are in the mountains, so you got to move a little bit away from town to get here.
We took the long way to the Grand Canyon, and there's some places out there, brother, that you better hope you got a spare tire or you got fuel, because you ain't getting out of there.
All right. Do you want to hear some of the clues?
Give me some clues. Let me help me find the Der Dutchman treasure.
Okay, so I'll just give some of the clues.
Dutchman.
They will all of the clues you can find in a link in the show notes, traveloddities.com/24.
Mm-hmm.
But clue number 1. If you pass 3 red hills, you've gone too far. Clue number 2. You can watch the military trail from the mine, but you can't see the mine from the military trail.
So it's up high.
No idea what that means.
Well, to me, it seems like it's up high.
Possibly.
Okay.
The setting sun shines through a break in the mountains and glitters off the ore in the mine. So,
Yeah.
you have to climb from a steep ravine to see Weaver's Needle to the south from above the mine. And Weaver's Needle is in the Superstition Mountain area, and people reference it a lot in this story. You can see Weaver's Needle to the south and 4 peaks to the north when 4 peaks look like one.
So I would say when they line up?
Right.
Okay.
There's a roofless house made of stone in the mouth of a cave near the mine. Yeah. So those are some of the clues. Again, you can go read more in depth on your own. Now, what?
So you're like Mr.
Matter of fact?
Matter of fact.
Okay, I'll stop being matter of fact.
Mr. Golly.
All right, sorry. So in the media, though, it shows up a lot. You've got the Superstition Mountain show on the History Channel.
Mm-hmm.
That's been a relatively popular show.
Yeah.
I think there have been 6 episodes of that so far. There have been multiple comics, video games, and books that have all used the Lost Dutchman's mine as their primary quest.
I think Maybe Red Dead Redemption had the Dutchman's mine in it, but I could be wrong.
There were a bunch. It was too many to list out.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 1949 Western film, The Lust for Gold, which was about the mine. There was a cartoon series called Rough and Ready from the 1960s that made that the backdrop often.
And I believe there was an adult movie called Rough and Ready about finding booty as well.
There was a 2001 novel called The Death's Head Mine. There was even a song in 1960 by Walter Brennan called the Dutchman's Gold, and that was a hit song from 1960. All right, so comic book writer and illustrator Don Rosa had written a Scrooge McDuck comic about the mine called The Dutchman's Secret. There is another novel called Missing on Superstition Mountain from 2011. Now, the one that I thought was cool, there are at least three amusement park rides.
Mm-hmm.
The Lost Dutchman Mine Ride was a popular attraction at Legend City Amusement Park. Frontier Village had one as well, and there was one at Opryland USA Amusement Park.
And also, at home, I do the Dutch oven.
And then lastly, Monsters and Mysteries in America had an episode about the place called the Badlands.
Cool.
All right, so let's get into the skeptics' views.
Let's do, because there's a lot of them, Bo.
We're not going to go into all of them. You and I can go into our own ideas.
It was the Apaches that killed him. So
okay, so one of the main arguments against this, there's no actual evidence for the mine's existence.
None. There's no, hey, this is a nugget. There's no nuggets. There's no bars of gold. And there's rumors that there's even like oil paintings in this mine. Like it's just a cache of treasures. That's another rumor that I heard.
Right. So again, completely different story. It seems to be a mashup of a lot of stories of the area. But again, we could be completely wrong, and they could all be right. It could all be accurate information. Mm-hmm. There was another gentleman, James Rivas. He was referred to as the Baron of Arizona. He was convicted of fraud and forgery in reference to the Peralta family genealogy and other documents.
What a son of a bitch. Can we say that?
Yes. I think we can.
It's a compelling story. It really is. And I love the Apaches. I'm going to go on record saying I love the Apaches. I just think that you mess with their stuff, you deserve to be killed.
All right, so let's talk about the town of Apache Junction.
Okay.
We already said that it's a part of the greater Phoenix Metroplex. It's 17,000 foot or 1,700 foot above sea level. Population is 36,000, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
It is also home to the Goldfield Ghost Town.
Oh, cool.
This is a ghost town preserved from the prospector days.
Oh, okay.
So they have a whole lot of... I went through all the pictures. They have a lot of really cool stuff. Blacksmiths, shops, and things like that from the era.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't specifically say it's haunted or anything of that nature, but it would be cool no matter what.
Mm-hmm. I like ghost towns.
So Apache Junction is called Apache Junction because it's where the Apache Trail meets U.S. Route 60.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was... Sorry, it just kind of sounded like I don't know. Like a made-up place.
It's also home of the Elvis Memorial Chapel.
Interesting.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I have never... I'm an Elvis... I fancy myself a fan of the King. And I've never heard any stories of him eating peanut butter and nanner sandwiches in Apache Junction in Arizona. I mean, I'm just saying. So, I mean, it's Highly possible. I mean, the king went everywhere. He was everywhere.
Right. And, okay, so if you're in Apache Junction and you don't want to eat a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Nanner. But go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry, peanut butter and nanner sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
We did find a place. The Handlebar Pub and Grill.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty damn awesome, actually.
Yeah, I would eat there.
So they have,
I think,
a craft beer pub with 28 handles, including a beer engine. They have over 100 plus bottles available, cask ale, wine. They have music.
Oh, wow. This is fancy. This is bougie.
Now,
almost.
The food piece is all grass-fed local meat and local organic produce that is all wood-fired on the grill.
Oh, good. That'd be so yummy. Wood-fired salmon. And, no, I was about to say something, but that was I'm not going to say it. Longhorn.
We have a local place that has grass-fed longhorn.
We do.
Mears.
It was actually listed as one of the 15 best hole-in-the-wall restaurants in Oklahoma.
It was also listed as one of the top 5 best burger joints in the country.
Yeah. So if you're ever in Mears, speaking of Apache Indians, that's Apache country too.
Is it really?
Lawton. Mm-hmm. That is where they actually have a reservation there.
They have a reservation at the restaurant?
And no, in
what time
Lawton.
is it for?
That's where like one of their tribal headquarters is in Lawton, Oklahoma.
Sweet.
So
well, there is something that we need to get to.
Oh yeah. Listener feedback. Do it to it.
So we have a repeat from last week, actually.
So we're basically reading the same stuff from last week?
No, actually, it's similar people, different information. So, again, back with us, the Southern Mist Paranormal Research decided that our last episode was important enough to share it on their Facebook page.
Excellent.
So
no applause. Send money.
Send money?
Never mind. No applause. Just throw money. You never heard that? You never heard that expression?
No.
Okay, you're an idiot.
I'm an idiot because I've never heard of a random expression.
Yes, you are.
So, and then we've got some more feedback
from our
Eastbound and down, load it up and truck it.
Breaker 19, this here's a rubber duck.
Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see, but...
Well, I'm a bad mother trucker, baby.
Yes.
So, Anthony, the bad mother trucker.
Anthony, the bad mother trucker,
He did have something something to share with us on our Facebook page. He said that he heard the show, loved the hell out of it. His theme music is very important to him, is the way I take it. He had some
colorful words, some expletives,
yes,
that we don't allow.
So as far as our last show goes, he said he's ready to show up at the cemetery around midnight and say F the police and do some investigating.
Heck yeah.
He also liked the idea of our feedback line and said that he will be sending in a voice comment.
Has anybody yet? We're waiting still. We're waiting for people to have the courage. Maybe that's what it is.
And actually, that was Anthony's complaint. He's not
scared.
He's not worked up to it yet.
I also read, I misread. I may have misread Anthony Shear.
Okay.
He says he doesn't have it because he's been all over the country. He's lived everywhere. That his voice is a little bit more southern.
He did say that.
Not Jersey.
Well,
or New York. He's not from Jersey. He's not from Jersey. I do pay attention, by the way. But anyway, yeah. So thanks for all your feedback. And definitely hit us up on the odd line. For sure. What's that number again?
It's 786-5-ODDITY.
So leave us comments, suggestions, feedback, stories. We'd love to hear your stories.
And if you're camera shy, microphone shy.
Yeah, something like that.
Microphone shy.
Telephone shy, something.
Telephone shy, whatever the case is. You can always go to the website, traveloddities.com.
Facebook.com.
/24.
Right. Facebook.com/Travel Oddities Podcast. Always love to hear from you.
You can follow us on Twitter at @travel_oddities.
Yeah. I mean, so we're always welcome to suggestions. Give us a 5-star feedback, some feedback on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. And, the show must go on.
Absolutely.
So this has been Travel Oddities. I'm Brett.
And I'm Harley.
Peace.
Peace.
Bohemians are they?
I hate you on a regular basis.
I know, but okay, what are people from the Bahamas called? Bahamans?
Bahamans?
What are they called?
I don't know.
You were about to say it.
What?
You're about to say water Mexicans.
I was not. We're deleting that.
Or saltwater Mexicans.
Saltwater Mexicans. You're going to hell. I'm stopping it.
It's been my mission in life to find this gold.
I love gold.
And I felt I've been close a couple of times, but somehow it's always eluded me. The curse, the legend, it hooks you. Sure, I want the gold, but I also want answers.